7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So who's Kamala's VP going to be? She's got about a week to wrap this up. As I mentioned yesterday, Chris LaCivita, Trump's campaign manager, tweeted out the other day that the word was it's going to be Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, which certainly makes some sense because there's a need to make up ground in Pennsylvania, and the electoral map doesn't work for the Democrats without it. So that makes some sense. But our very own Jelly Belly, Governor Spalding, is in the running.
Apparently he got the paperwork to fill out to be properly vetted.
Have you been asked by the Harris campaign to submit any paperwork to be vetted as vice president?
Well, I'm not going to talk about any private conversations that I've had, but as you know, I've been traveling the country advocating for Kamala Harris, for the Democratic ticket, and making sure that we're beating Donald Trump everywhere we can.
Okay, you're not going to tell us.
Would
I
you
get it.
accept an invitation to be her running mate?
Well, I think, I love being governor of Illinois. The people of Illinois have graced me with that title for the last two elections, and, I'd be reluctant to make a change, but it'd be hard to resist a call and consideration
just
if
say
the
yes
nominee
already. God bless.
to be considered for vice president.
God. Can anybody just speak like a human being? Of course you're going to take it.
Right, well then just say it.
Of course he's going to take it. But no, I have to genuflect before the wonderful electorate who's honored me and so on and so forth. Now, follow up. The paperwork. On the paperwork, do you have to disclose all your financial holdings and tax havens, island nations that are tax havens and so forth? Yeah, I don't.
What's your BMI?
I don't think it's going to be Jelly Belly, but it wouldn't upset me if it was.
Oh, I would love to see JB and JD in a debate. I mean, here you have a man who was born with $2 billion when he was born, and somebody else who grew up with nothing.
Yeah, but J.D. Vance hates women because he made this childish cat ladies comment that the left is really trying to gain some traction with. Just for those who haven't paid attention to it, he said this a while back, and of course it resurfaces as everything does, which, by the way, that reminds some of people who are nervous about Kamala that everything that she said and done over the last decade is resurfacing and is going to resurface and is going to stick around too. So stay tuned. But anyway, Vance said we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices they've made. So they want to make the rest of the country miserable, too. I mean, that's a very specific group of childless cat ladies he's talking about.
He was talking about AOC, Pete Buttigieg, and Kamala Harris.
Well, no. He mentioned them by name, but what he's talking about is sort of the awful profile. He's talking about these sort of man-hating shrews that for whom abortion is a sacrament, that live in wealthy enclaves like around Chicagoland. Think, the North Shore, River Forest, Hinsdale, and everything is about breaking through glass ceilings, and it's all sort of men versus women, and they fall prey to the identity politics along race and gender and identity lines as well. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about the radical identitarian left. That is largely driven by women, the people who don pea hats to protest.
Right.
So, maybe he would have chosen his words more delicately if he had to do it over again. But, I mean, it's hardly a comment on every woman in America who chose not to have kids and so on and so forth, which, of course, is how they're trying to characterize it. Well, who's it going to be for Kamala? Bret Baier, host of Fox News Special Report, 5 p.m. Chicago time, Monday to Friday. He's also the best-selling author of To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment, as well as The History Club, Duel Across Time. Bret, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Morning.
So Josh Shapiro is the leader in the clubhouse?
not sure. For all the words that Governor Pritzker used to say yes, he could be. No, I actually don't think he's one of the ones that they would choose. I think it was maybe a thank you to put him on the list. I actually think that Governor Roy Cooper from North Carolina is higher than people think. It's a state that he has a lot of popularity, and it's also a state that they think that they can get. It's pretty close. Shapiro is clearly a great state as far as they want to get that state, but being an advocate for Israel as vocally as he is not, part of the plan.
Well, what about Tim Walz from Minnesota?
Just hold on a second. What a commentary that is.
Yeah.
Isn't that a commentary that the Shapiro may not the biggest problem with Shapiro for the Democrats is that he's Jewish and he's committed to the state of Israel.
Yeah, I'm just giving you the politics here in Washington. When 35 Democrats don't show up for Netanyahu's speech, and neither does Vice President Harris, they're clearly trying to tiptoe around this issue.
Yeah.
And signal something different.
Well, Minnesota seems to be in play lately. Is that a possibility, Tim Walz?
Yeah, and they like him. They think he's fiery. They like him on those interviews. It's Midwest. Minnesota should be a blue state, but it's actually single digits, and some polls have Trump leading. So that would be kind of a holding ground. He does attack J.D. Vance pretty quickly.
Both candidates now have said, let's debate. Kamala says, let's debate. Trump says, let's debate plural. Let's do multiple debates. Fox News, Bret Baier, going to get in on that action?
We have a formal request in, Martha and I, in Pennsylvania. We put the date at September 17th, but that was to be negotiated as well as the format. We hope so. President Trump has already agreed, and we'll see if Vice President Harris does. President Trump said he had a problem with ABC. We had already put our request in prior to him saying that, but he also said he wants to wait until the Democrats lock in their nominee because there's been a little back and forth on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about a town hall setting for you guys, for Fox? Is that a possibility?
We would do town halls. I think it's, the main general election debate format is one that people want to see. But we would do town halls in a heartbeat.
I mean, it seems to me that Trump is sticking with the strategy he had with Biden, which is let's do multiple debates. Let's, whatever you want to do, I'm open to. I just wanted to get you on a debate stage.
I agree. Anytime, any place. I do think that, they gave up a lot of leverage in how they said yes. You could have said yes, but they agreed to every format, everything the Biden campaign wanted, in essence, just to get him on the stage. And this, I think they're thinking about, at least having some say in the format and the location.
The rollout of Kamala. I mean, I know that what choice do they have? That she is their ride or die now, so that everybody has to put on a happy face and at least feign enthusiasm. But I have to go back to what the handle was on her for these many months that these same people were propping up Biden, which is we got to prop up Biden because our alternative is Kamala, and that's even worse. And now we're supposed to believe that this is, a generational leader who has emerged from emerged from off stage and is this unbelievable political talent that is going to rise to the occasion and so on and so forth. Do Democrats who are skeptical of her, do they really believe the stuff they're saying about her today?
I don't know. You're right. It's a big change. I mean, there was a big worry. In fact, if you remember last year, there was a whole effort in the Democratic Party to talk about maybe replacing Kamala.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they thought that was the vulnerability for Biden because he was so old that maybe that would shore him up. That's not the case now, and clearly they're circling the wagons, and everybody's fired up and enthusiastic. I would just point to James Carville, who said you guys are getting a little too giddy too soon because they're coming. They're coming. And that means that all those things she said before as a presidential candidate, all of those things that did not get her to the Iowa caucuses, that made all the money dry up, that got her zero support, they're coming out in an ad and many ads, and you've already seen them in swing states.
Have you already asked for a one-on-one interview with Kamala Harris?
Of course, we've had requests in for Vice President Harris for months, and then we renewed everything once she was the presumptive nominee. So, I would take an interview with President Biden too.
Sure. I don't. Is there any sort of behind the scenes that you can share with us as to what the anticipation is of how much we'll see Biden between now and November 5th?
I don't think we're going to see him a lot. I really don't. The fact that you have world leaders scheduling independent solo meetings with Vice President Harris, I mean, we essentially have a co-presidency
Right.
when it comes to foreign policy. And that's, it can be a dangerous thing because foreign leaders don't know who really to go towards. And I don't think we're going to see him a lot. He says he's going to be on the campaign trail, but show me the swing state senator that wants to campaign with President Biden.
Right.
Yeah, and he said he's going to be at the DNC as well. But I feel like we have two presidents right now. So who's running the show?
Well, this is exactly the question that Peter Ducey, your colleague, put to Karine Jean-Pierre yesterday, and this was the response. Take a listen, Brett.
Topic. Russia and China are teaming up in the skies near Alaska for the first time ever. Are you getting a sense yet, based on everything that's been going on, that some of America's enemies might be looking at what's happening here and think there's nobody in charge?
So let me just say this. There is very much someone in charge. The president is the president until the end of his term. So that statement is certainly false. And we have seen the president bring together our allies and partners. He reinvigorated NATO.
Yeah, so then you go to the whole record of accomplishment after you say the president is still the president. Yes, technically that's true, but that's not really answering the question, which, of course, Karine Jean-Pierre is instructed not to do.
Right. Exactly. I think it's a really interesting moment because we have very dangerous times. I mean, what Peter's referencing is these bombers, Chinese and Russian planes, come really close to Alaska. We scramble jets. That was 45 minutes before Biden spoke in the Oval Office. If you don't think that was meant to send a signal, I'm pretty sure it was.
Bret Baier is the host of Fox News Special Report, 5 p.m. weekdays, Chicago time. Best-selling author of To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment, as well as The History Club, Duel Across Time. Bret, thank you as always.
You bet.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Do you have jewelry with sentimental value that needs repairing? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I'm a customer of family-owned Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville because it's a place I trust. Their in-house master jeweler does impeccable work, and jewelry comes back repaired in perfect condition and looks the